My name is Matthew Lopez, and I am the writer of The Whipping Man. What got me started writing The Whipping Man was my interest in the idea of the valleys between the peaks of great historical events, the moments when life returns to normal after great calamities. And in American history, there was no calamity greater than the Civil War. We think we know everything there is to know about American history. We like our history prepackaged and neatly boxed and in bright, vivid colors. And what really is the truth about our history, about any history, is that it's about compromises and intersections, and the messier, the more interesting. And one of the things that I like to feel this play is about is taking a group of people who you wouldn't normally associate with one another in terms of our historical growth as a nation, and put them in a room together and see what they have to say to one another. Because that is what I feel the American experience has always been. We are not a nation of single experience. We are such a varied and sort of quilted people. And I wanted this family, this story, to be about people who we normally don't see rubbing up against each other in a play, and have us understand ourselves through the experiences that they go through in the play, and finding those moments of commonality and finding those moments of difference, and seeing how they influence each other and seeing how they converse with one another.
What I'd love for an audience to walk away with after they've seen The Whipping Man is this feeling that a history that seems so distant from ours actually is not. When I read the play, I thought, I don't have anything in common. What can I have in common with Jewish Confederates in 1865 and newly freed black slaves? And from my experience with the play, what I walked away with is that defining what it means to be free is something that we in this country have to constantly do for ourselves. What is our responsibility to freedom, since we are fortunate enough to have it? Working with Avery Glimpf has been a pleasure, because he's quite physically adept. Not only does he bring an emotional range to the part, but he's very physically skilled. So we were able to create a different kind of tension, a different kind of danger, because he can go from 100 to 0 so quickly and so controlled that it lets you play with moments in a way you wouldn't be able to do with another actor. Sullivan he walks a lovely line, because Caleb is really, we don't really get to see who Caleb was before the war started. We get to see the effect of the war and how this man has been ravaged by this war. And Mark does a beautiful job of letting us see what has been lost in this young man. He manages, we call it a rough and soft Caleb, who he was before the war and who he is now. The character of Simon and who Simon is, I think I was picturing something different, and then when Charlie Robinson walked into the room, he brought such a quiet dignity, and I always knew Simon possessed that, but it was this, that quiet dignity and the survivor's sense of containment could erupt with such passion and such strength that I think Charlie really helped me to see a different kind of Simon than I had envisioned, and one that I think is incredibly effective.
My experience in San Diego is that I don't want to ever leave. I love New York, but I could be convinced to move here, I think. It is a really wonderful, it's really wonderful to walk outside of your rehearsal room and step into a garden in the middle of a park, in a paradise. In New York City, you step out of your rehearsal room and you're on 8th Avenue. It is in some ways, the area that we're working in is so conducive to the creative spirit. You feel without sounding too sort of weird about it, you feel really creatively nourished in this environment, and I think it shows on stage. Everybody's happy to be here and happy to work here, and that makes for a really great environment in the rehearsal room and then eventually on stage.
Yeah, working at the Globe has been like stepping into the perfect artistic fairy tale. I can't believe when we open the rehearsal room and we are in the garden. I can't believe that this is where I'm fortunate enough to create art. And it seems that everyone gets enough sunlight to be healthy and happy and content. And it's been a joyful process, a rigorous process, and the standards are incredibly high, but there is joy that I've never really experienced before.